What is going on, guys, and welcome back to a new video. So in this video, I'm going to go over how to get shredded and stay shredded forever. So there's only 3 things you really need to know about how to get shredded and stay shredded forever. That's how to build muscle mass without gaining body fat, how to lose body fat without losing muscle mass, and how to have an actual sustainable way of actually keeping it for good. Right? So if you guys don't know me by now, what's up? My name's Adam. I'm an online fitness coach, online fitness professional. I help career-driven, busy men lose body fat, break fat loss plateaus, and achieve their dream body and keep it for good, right? So I've worked with over 56 men in just the last 6 months alone, and I've successfully helped these men lose a combined 400 pounds in my one-on-one personal program using a proven method of science called metabolic priming. It is a process of metabolism manipulation. But in this video, I'm going to kind of go over a little bit more about how to gain muscle mass without gaining body fat, how to lose body fat without losing muscle mass, and I'm going to actually show you, how to actually sustain it for life, an actual predictable method of using that by using one of the modules in my actual program on flexible dieting, which is a process of actually learning a sustainable way to actually diet and not have to restrict yourself, right? So this is the transformation that I currently made. I made using this exact process. This is the transformation I made for my show.
And it goes like this. We'll get you pouring, you'll need to kiss me. We'll talk for hours and lie on the backseat.
And this is the transformation that I have made over the past couple years, doing this over and over and over again.
From space, I just need from space. Space, I just need from space.
So first thing you need to know about this in general is that, this process of gaining muscle mass and losing body fat, and then losing body fat and gaining muscle mass, you can do repeatedly, right? And the more times you do it, the leaner you can stay for longer, right? And so that's why I have this beautiful picture pulled up with my man Timmy right here. So breaking down, people who are stuck in the skinny fat phase, which is you don't have the muscle mass that actually presses against that skin, right? So let's take, for instance, 50% body fat at 150 pounds versus 15% body fat at 180 pounds, right? So at 15% body fat at 150, the body fat has a lot more surface area to actually show. The more muscle mass that you have, the less the body fat actually shows, and the less surface area that body fat has to be pushed around the skin a little bit more, and makes you actually appear very lean, right? So one of the biggest questions I get in every single day is how do I get abs? Why can't I get abs? So abs actually come from the good amount of muscle mass to body fat ratio. So the more muscle mass you have, the leaner you can look at a higher body fat percentage. It's the exact reason why bodybuilders in their off season have great abs, is because they just have a mature muscle mass to actually sustain that, right? So breaking it down in general, how to actually gain muscle mass without gaining body fat, or how to lose body fat without losing muscle mass, is it comes down to really macronutrients, right? So a lot of people that I come across, when they've tried all these unsustainable diets, they tried all these types of diets, restrictive diets that haven't worked for them in the past, and I completely get it, because I've tried them all too. I've tried fasting, I've tried keto, I've tried low carb, I've tried tons of cardio, very low calories, carnivore. I tried it all, right? What you really need is you actually need to learn what macronutrients are going to benefit you, right? Everybody's macronutrients are going to be different. Everybody needs a different amount of protein, carbs, and fats for their specific height, weight, age, activity level, job they do, how long they're on their feet a day. And so knowing your exact protein, carbs, and fats is going to help you, achieve this goal, whether it is gaining body fat without gaining muscle mass without gaining body fat, or losing body fat without losing muscle mass, right? So breaking down protein, carbs, and fats in general, the higher the muscle mass you have, the more your metabolism will, kick up, right? So having more muscle mass means that you're going to have a higher amount of metabolic structure, right? So protein in general gets broken down to amino acids, which are the building blocks of the body. It helps build and repair muscles and bones. Carbs support bodily functions and physical activity. It's the body's main fuel source. and it gets broken down to glucose for energy, and all that extra energy is stored in the liver. And then a fat intake, get broken down to fatty acids for energy, is stored as fat cells. And fat intake actually helps, maintain your like hormonal levels, right? And so the first thing you need to know about gaining muscle mass without gaining body fat is you really need to really nail your macronutrients, right? When you're able to nail your macronutrients, change happens like very, very fast, right? And so when you nail your macronutrients, and the why my process of metabolic priming is so predictable and like sustainable is that it's a proven method, right? It's like kind of like a course, right? You just follow the course, and like it teaches you exactly how to, one, macronutrients you need to hit, two, changes we need to make every single week, and it helps you, one, raise your metabolic rate by increasing muscle mass and getting that skin to press against that muscle to press against that skin to make you appear more tight. But it also sets you up for a good fat loss phase, which in the future, like we're going to talk about here in a second, is how to lose body fat without losing muscle mass, right? So the process of metabolic priming is actually pretty simple, right? You nail your macronutrients, you use carbs as your fuel source to really nail how many carbohydrates you need as an energy output, and so that your body is not like, shutting down this, hormones and feeling like crap. And it's a lot more sustainable when you start to understand macronutrients and flexible dieting rather than just following like a simple meal plan, chicken and rice every single day, which nobody wants to do, right? So what I do is I actually teach flexible dieting, how to hit macronutrients, what your body needs, protein, carbs, and fats wise, and then I guide my clients through like a metabolic priming phase, which means that we focus on strictly growing muscle and keeping the body fat low, right? So a couple of my clients who've like gone through this exact transformation where like we focus solely on growing their muscle mass and keeping their body fat low, like Steven here, like the picture I showed you with Timmy, right? Steven's a great example, right? He was 18 pounds up, 900 calories more per day, but we like really tightened up his skin by simply just like focusing on growing his muscle mass, right? Or Mason right here, right? 13 more hundred calories per day. He weighs the exact same weight. We got rid of some body fat, we put some muscle mass in his place, and now he's like pretty shredded. Or like Christian right here, it's 15 pounds up, 1,000 more calories per day. Connor, 13 pounds up, just tightened up, right? So we really focus on nailing those macronutrients, protein, carbs, and fats, and slowly raising the carbohydrates every single week to stimulate not only muscle growth, but keep the body fat low, right? So this kind of grows you into your skin, makes you feel really, really tight, and keeps the body fat low. And so that, like I said with the picture with Timmy over here, it helps us, one, get rid of that skinny fat look, right? And so we keep the body fat low, get rid of some body fat, focus on simply growing muscle, using metabolic priming to get your metabolism to pump a little bit more by simply gaining muscle mass, like I said, with, having more muscle mass and higher metabolism. And most of my clients gain a good amount of weight and lose a good amount of body fat in the process by simply stimulating their metabolism by focusing on solely muscle growth, right? So I actually had a client interview with Christian, my client over here I just showed you, and I'll kind of show you exactly kind of what we mean, like when we say like focus on solely growing the muscle, keeping the body fat low. You got like shredded, bro, like really, really fast.
I still don't like, I still look at the pictures, look at myself now, and I'm like, holy shit. I think it was going to happen that quick. Literally just gaining so much muscle, and like my body was just like freakish, and I never like was able to do that like in my life. Like my abs were already like 3 times as ripped as they ever were, and the way you set it up and the way you had us do it was it made it so easy. Like
Yeah.
I felt like I was plateaued for like a year. Kind of cardio, after every workout to see if that'll work. And I would always just get to like this certain spot in my body, like certain weight. And I would just like, no matter how hard I would work out, I would just kind of stay there. And after the 3rd week, I was like, damn, like, how am I going up in weight and looking like, better? Like your system just made it so easy. That's really what I was probably most impressed about.
So what I'm trying to show here is that like when we focus solely on growing muscle mass and keeping the body fat low, like within this metabolic priming phase, like not only does it happen really fast, but also like we're able to, one, raise your metabolism by raising your food, getting your body to grow muscle and keep the body fat low, but then we kind of stretch out that, that skin, make it look tight. So like metaphorically, like think about it like a balloon. Like you put a balloon in your shirt and we call it your muscles, right? Glycogen in the muscles, right? So let's say that balloon is completely flat, right? You don't have enough carbohydrates to actually support glucose in the muscle, and it's completely flat. So that's when you get into the process of kind of where, Steven was right here, where he just kind of looked like in that skinny fat range. Like he just doesn't have the muscle mass to really press against that skin because there's no glucose in his muscles, as opposed to now where he's at, like we really focus on like, filling up his like muscle tissue with glucose by using carbohydrates to our advantage. And now like we press his muscle against the skin, it looks much tighter, he's up in weight, and he's much leaner, much stronger, and he's eating more food, right? So like going on the opposite end of things, like let's talk about like how to like lose body fat without losing muscle mass, because we want a good body fat to muscle mass ratio, right? If we're losing muscle mass in the process by, cutting our calories super low, super fast, we lose muscle mass in the process. And then like that's when we get caught in that skinny fat range. So what a lot of men go wrong in today is like cutting their calories way too fast to where they're actually kind of going catabolic on their muscle tissue, right? Which brings their muscle tissue down, brings their strength down. And like once you start to like really like cut it really fast and really quick, like stuff happens with your metabolism, and like your hormones get out of whack, right? So like this is kind of the breakdown of what your metabolism is. Like 60% of it is your basal metabolic rate, which is like all the essential body functions that help your body like actually like function at a very high rate, like breathing, blood flow, sleep, organ function. So if like you cut your calories super fast, your body wants to use just the amount of calories that it has for your metabolism, right? And then people like get in the range where like, okay, well now let's do like a crap ton of cardio. So they start doing a crap ton of cardio, and like, working out and moving around is only 25% of your overall metabolism. So if you're not getting enough food, carbohydrates to stimulate your basal metabolic rate, your body will start to slow down, start to get signs like weight loss or weight plateaus, depression, fatigue, hard to concentrate, low energy, insulin resistance, no sex drive, increased appetite, bad skin. Like stuff starts to happen within that when we start to cut it really fast, right? So what we do differently in my program is, one, we focus on like actually going to a fat loss phase. So think about it like this, like, Steven, for example, he's like up 18 pounds, 900 more calories per day. And now that we have so much more calories to work with, we have like actually a structured fat loss phase where we can like cut the calories down. And like kind of how this works as well is that like, let's take this kind of like BMR chart, for example. Right. So a lot of guys, what they do is they get in the position they want to lose fat and go into a fat loss phase, but they haven't been nailing their macronutrients, but they've been like maybe tracking calories a little bit, or maybe just been eating clean a little bit, and they don't really know even what their calories are at or their macronutrients are at. So what you need to do is dial in your macronutrients, find where your macronutrients are at, first of all. Right. Second of all, like when people get in this range where like they don't know how much they've been eating, they don't know their macronutrients are, they instantly, like within a couple weeks, slam these calories down and slam this cardio up, right? All while their BMR is still relatively low because they've been, just not hitting their macronutrients and not optimizing their hormones with correct nutrition, right? So they get stuck in the range where like, one, they cut their calories really low super fast, or they maybe not even like doing a bunch of cardio. They just cut their calories low, and now they're like at very low calories and don't have much lower to go. So instead of what we do in my program is we focus on, one, first of all, like really optimizing your muscle mass, right? Optimizing your muscle tissue so that like we can get the calories up, we can get your metabolic rate up, we can get your BMR and your metabolism up, and then we able to do that correctly, then we can go into a fat loss phase, which, one, we have much more resources to work with. We have a lot of calories to work with. Your BMR is in a great spot, and so we can go to a fat loss phase. So how do I operationalize a fat loss phase without losing muscle tissue is, one, you want to go into fat loss phase and you're going to slowly like lower your calories, right? So let's say that like in the metabolic priming phase, we're able to get, we'll take my client Phil, for example, right? So Phil, like he's, eating 1,200 calories more per day. He's down 50 pounds, right? And I'll show you a quick client tutorial, testimonial from Phil himself. What we did is like one, we raised his metabolic rate, focused on slowly growing muscle mass, and he lost a lot of weight in the process, right? So this is kind of what like our client testimonial was from him. Pounds is literally insane, dude. Like absolutely nuts. What, you were up eating almost like what 1,600 more calories, and you were down like I don't know, like 40 pounds.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. So like if I would have told you like when we started, like, hey, like you're gonna be eating 1,600 more calories and you're gonna lose 40 pounds, what would you have thought?
First kind of gave me the plan. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. I was like, how am I supposed to eat more food and lose weight? And then, dude, like by week 3 or 4, I was like already down like 10 pounds. I was like, okay, this is working. So we're going to keep doing it. Yeah, I mean, I honestly think that's safe to say that it's changed my life. I mean, not only, you know, do I look better and I feel better, but also, you know, it's changed my mentality and my discipline of eating and not overeating and just everything. My work has been easier for me. I've been more successful, etc. So it's legitimately changed my life. Yeah.
So like what we did with Phil is, one, we got his BMR up, right? Like when he came to me, he was eating a pizza a day, right? He was like going home after work, eating a pizza, sitting on the couch. And what we had to do was restructure his protein, carbs, and fats to fit what his actual bodily hormones needed to lose body fat and gain muscle. So as he started to gain muscle and started to get actually increase in like size, the body fat started to come off. So we got Phil all the way up to 3,600 calories, right? So now Phil's at 3,600 calories, down 50 pounds in a metabolic priming phase. And then what we do from there is we go into a fat loss phase. So Phil now, in today's date, is 60 pounds down. And he's only 3 weeks into his fat loss phase, right? I have the transformation pictures like on in my program, but I didn't mean to put them out for this video, but for the purpose of it, anyways, like what I'm saying is that now that like we're up to 3,600 calories and he's lost 50 pounds, we can go into fat loss phase now. So we started to fill out by lowering the calories just like 100, and he started to lose a little bit of weight because now remember we got a bunch of calories to work with. So we lower the calories a little bit, we wait till his weight stops or weight freezes, and then we add calories, or we add lower calories, or we add activity level, right? Which means that one, we either increase a very small increment of one, either his high intensity cardio, which would be like, you know, your treadmill, like your stairs, or two, your non-intensive cardio, your not like intensive cardio like steps, right? So we really focus on two things: your steps, and then also your high intensity cardio, which your low intensity cardio is what I meant. Your high intensity cardio and low intensity cardio. So what steps do is it's a form of low intensity cardio, which means that it doesn't have an inflammatory response on your body, so you can lose more calories without actually like putting a bunch of stress on the body. Because when you're going into like a fat loss phase, you want to be very cautious of the stress that you put on your body, because your body does have like kind of an inflammatory response to like lowering calories a little bit, and when you're doing a bunch of output activities, right? So that's the exact reason why some of the clients that come to me who work kind of more stressful jobs or on their feet a lot, simply, first of all, we got to get rid of a lot of inflammation with their body by, you know, giving them more food for the body to supplement not only healing themselves, but lowering that inflammation as well, right? So when you go into fat loss phase, you really want to focus on making sure you don't have a bunch of, like your body doesn't get super, super inflamed, right? So if like you slam your calories really low, really fast, and you raise your cardio very high, your body will not only start to shut down with the BMR, you know, tactics I just kind of talked about, but it also have a kind of an inflammatory response. And so it'll start to like hold on to weight a little bit more. So how to operationalize that is, one, like we do it very slowly, right? We add or lower activities. We don't do both at the same time, right? So like for once, like, you know, for week 1 for Phil, we lowered his calories like 100. For week 2, we raised his cardio 10 minutes. Week 3, like, but we do this like in an operational manner, right? We only do it when your weight freezes, because we want to utilize every kind of like structure every week to the best of his advantage. So like say that like Phil, you know, drops 3 pounds in 1 week by simply lowering some calories. Well, then we just kind of ride that out and wait till his weight stops, right? Because like if we're jumping ahead of ourselves, we're getting rid of our resources too fast, because your resources of your cut without losing a bunch of muscle tissue is going to be your low intensity cardio, like I said, like steps, high intensity cardio like stairs or like, you know, incline treadmill, and then your food. Those are your 3 resources. So you want to save each one of those resources for as long as possible, so it's more maintainable in the future, right? If you're doing it super fast and you're cutting your calories really fast, not only are you going to get very hungry really fast, but you're getting rid of all of your resources really fast as well. So what we do instead is we use this, and we like use this structure right here to add or lower activity if your weight becomes stagnant, right? So what happens if your weight becomes stagnant, right? Which means that we let lower added activities and nothing happened. And this wouldn't really probably happen until we get like relatively lower in calories after the metabolic priming phase. But what we do is a structured refeed. So the purpose of a structured refeed in general is to stimulate your metabolism a little bit more, right? So think about it like this. Like, let's say that, Phil, for example, was at 3,600 calories. We got him all the way down to 2,400 calories. And 2 weeks goes by, we lower calories and nothing happens. Well, that's a sign to me that he needs a structured refeed. So what a structured refeed is giving his body more food, more calories, more carbohydrates to stimulate his metabolism a little bit more, keep his metabolism intact, and then over the next course of a couple days, his metabolism will work harder, trying to burn that food. Because think about it like this. If the body's like, oh crap, I just got more food, sweet, right? And so it's trying to burn that food in anticipation of you getting more food over the next course of a couple of days. And typically you would break past a fat loss plateau by using a structured refeed, right? So why we call it structured refeed and simply not just a cheat day is because in a structured refeed, we focus on carbohydrates and fat intake, which the carbohydrates is to stimulate, like I said, more leptin, more, your metabolism to kick, more energy. And then your fat intake will stimulate a little bit of more hormonal response. So like a great, like structured refeed for a lot of people is like a cheeseburger with fries, right? Has good protein, has good carbs, has good fats. And, it's really a pretty good structured refeed for most people, right? So let's say that, for instance, that your structured refeed doesn't work, right? You're stuck, right? You're got down to low calories, you're plateaued, you're stuck. But what we do, simply go back to the metabolic priming phase, right? Hormonal body and priming and body recomposition. We focus on just growing muscle tissue, like Connor, like Mason, like Steven, like Christian, and we just focus on just growing muscle tissue, right? And we get those calories up, we get that BMR up again, and then one, you could either go back into a fat loss phase and lose more body fat, or two, let's say that we get there, we get all the fat off, like you're pretty peeled, like you look great, right? And you love it, right? And so what we do is we get you back up in calories to a sustainable amount. And then we get to your goal physique, which means that, one, we lost all the fat, you gained a good amount of muscle size. Now that we go back in the metabolic priming phase to, get your calories up a little bit to, let's say that you're eating 1,800 calories in your cut, and, that's not very sustainable, right? You guys out there who are watching this right now, you got to think about, the diets that you're putting yourselves through, the tons of cardio you're putting yourselves through. You gotta think about it as is this sustainable long term for me, right? Can I do this the rest of my life? Probably not, right? So you need to kind of structure to find out, get your calories up. Because me, for example, I'm eating 2,500 calories a day. I'm not hungry. I'm pretty lean, and that's where I try to get all of my clients as well, focusing on growing muscle, keeping the body fat lowering the body fat, keeping the muscle tissue there, and then we go back into the metabolic priming phase, we can get your calories up, we can get you to your goal physique, and now you actually have sustainability with better health. Now that you know how to track macronutrients, protein, carbs, and fats, you have sustainable results, you have knowledge about nutrition, because even all my clients, a big question I got is what's your retention rate after your clients complete your program? They don't that's it. They don't usually come back, right? Why? Because I make sure they have the knowledge that is able to keep it for the rest of their life, right? More than happy, I would love to have them back, but in a real sense, I'm trying to I teach my clients how to sustain this for life, right? You can't be 80 years old and I can't still be your online coach, right? I teach my clients a sustainable way of actually losing body fat, gaining muscle that they can use even after we're done working together, right? And so that's why my client retention rate, me and my clients, we shake hands, and I know with absolute clarity that they're going to be good. They know about nutrition. They can teach this type of nutrition to their family, their children, their girlfriends, their wives, for the rest of their life, right? And that's the whole goal of what I'm trying to do within my personal program. So they have sustainability, better health, sustainable results, nutritional knowledge, confidence, dating, longevity, discipline, look good, feel good. So let's talk about sustainability, all right? So like I said, I've been through every type of diet before. I've tried all types of different diets in the past, and like I've kind of yo-yoed back and forth my entire life. Well, now I finally understand this stuff to a certain level where, like, I made this transformation right here in like 5 months, right? And now, then I competed in bodybuilding show, won one of them. And then like now I have lifetime sustainability because I understand this stuff, right? I understand macronutrients. I understand flexible dieting, and I don't have to eat chicken and rice and diet super hard for years, like 4 months out of the year to get lean for summer, right? I know how to keep it for life, have sustainability, and what it comes down to is, one, like I said, knowing how to track macronutrients, which your body needs, protein, carbs, and fats wise, because everybody's body is different. What I use for my current protein, carbs, and fats isn't what you guys are going to need, right? It's going to be completely different for you. But knowing that, you're not only going to have to be able to sustain it, but using that, you can actually go into something called flexible dieting, which is like a lot easier. And this is what I teach to all my clients who are like work very busy jobs, busy lifestyles, and like maybe they're on the road a lot, right? Well, I teach them flexible dieting, and it's more on the lines of how to hit your protein, carbs, and fats, and not really too focused on the actual foods themselves, right? So I'm actually going to share with you a module out of my personal program, my personal coaching program about flexible dieting, right? I'm going to kind of play this video kind of, a little bit in faster speed, playback speed, so it might be like a little bit fast, but like I want to kind of show you kind of what I teach my clients about flexible dieting that's able to make a sustainable change for a long period of time without having to do unsustainable diets like keto, like carnivore, and all that other bull crap, but actually how to keep it long term, how to go out to eat with your family and friends, how to have like, pizza and donuts if you want to, because like the misconception with dieting in general and living a healthy lifestyle is that like, you have to be restrictive, right? So think about it like this. If you're restricting, if you're going through a restrictive diet right now, how long can you sustain that? Can you sustain that for the next 50 years? If the answer is no, you're simply wasting your time, right? You want to find something that's more sustainable, and that's kind of what I teach my clients within this flexible dieting, which I have a whole nutrition module, advanced nutrition module within my program. But like I'll kind of show you like a quick playback of these actual flexible dieting tutorial within my program.
All right, what's up, guys? So today in the program, we're going to go over what's called flexible dieting, right? So this is a practice that I've learned over the course of time on occasions where, one, you go out to eat, you don't really necessarily know how to track food, or you just want to stay relatively within your calories but eat a little bit more freely. So I've got a lot of questions lately about, what foods you eat, what type of foods to eat. So necessarily it doesn't matter what types of food that you're eating, right? Obviously, if you're eating cleaner food, more whole-based option, which we should 5 or 6 days out of the week, that will optimize digestion, health, hormones, and all of that. But as long as we are staying within our calories, we can do extra foods or foods outside like a normal healthy basis, right? So I'm going to show you exactly how I track food, adding fun foods in, right? Adding foods like donuts, adding foods like pizza, right? And I'm also going to cover how I track food when I go out to eat with some friends, right? Because as long as I'm not on a bodybuilding prep, I'm not going to be the type of guy that goes out, doesn't have that meal with my friends, or on a birthday or like on a wedding. But there's a certain strategy that we can use to track food vaguely to at least get us by that day. Obviously, we shouldn't be doing this, twice a week, maybe every other week at least, right? Most of the time, we should be 80% of the time staying on a whole-based diet and following the 80-20 rule, right? So the 80-20 rule states that 80% of the time, all our food should be coming from a whole food source. They should be coming from very organic foods. And then 20% of the time, if you want to add that donut in there or add that pizza in with your full day of eating, you can do so, right? So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to share my screen with you guys real quick, and I'm going to show you a couple of examples as how I would track food, one, on a flexible dieting, adding extra foods in that I would like to eat, like a snack or two, and also how to track foods when I'm going out to eat, all right? So let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys real quick. All right, so the flexible dieting lifestyle, right? So let's say that, in your full day of eating, you want to eat something a little bit, off plan or not as healthy, right? You just want that snack in there. You want to fit that snack in there. So when you're full, like we talked about in the MyFitnessPal tutorial on how to track your foods, during the beginning of the day, it doesn't necessarily matter what type of food you eat or what you really eat. You can basically eat whatever you want. So let's say, for example, that my goal is to hit 250 protein, 250 carbohydrates, and 60 fat, right? So, at the beginning of the day, I want to, eat my normal eggs. I'll do 2 eggs, egg whites, 250 grams of egg whites, English muffins, and that's typically my breakfast of the day, right? But let's say on top of that, that I wanted to go ahead and throw in a donut from Krispy Kreme. right? So 1 donut from Krispy Kreme, there you go, right? I'm gonna go ahead and add that in there, right? So now that you notice that, we can go check my macronutrients, check my calories for the day. I have 51 grams of protein, 78 grams of carbs, and 24 grams of fat, right? So I'm going into lunch and I'm like, okay, what do I want to eat for lunch? So I'm gonna go ahead and eat some chicken, 7 ounces of chicken. Let's do, rice. I'm not really too worried about what I'm, eating at this point of the day. And then, I want to put avocado in there. So I'll do 3 ounces of an avocado, right? So I go to my full day of eating and check out my nutrients. So I realize that I'm 102 grams of protein, 142 grams of carbs, and 39 grams of fat, right? So not too bad, right? And, I'm staying within my calories. I still got a little bit of protein to eat, if you take a look. And I got about 20 grams of fat remaining. So let's say that dinner comes around and I want to eat a piece of pizza, right? Let's say Domino's pizza. So let's see, all right, let's go back. So Domino's pizza, right? So 1 pepperoni slice from Domino's. So I noticed that within this piece of pizza that there's 31 carbs, 12 grams of fat, and 11 grams of protein, right? So remember, I have 20 grams of fat remaining. So I cannot do 2 slices of pepperoni pizza, right? So I can do 1 though. So I'm gonna go ahead and add 1 slice of pepperoni pizza. I notice I only have 10 grams of fat remaining. I have 173 carbs remaining, and I have a lot of protein remaining. So on top of that pizza, maybe I need to do a quick serving of chicken, right? So we'll do chicken. I got a lot of protein to hit, I know, so I'll do 12 ounces of cooked chicken. Take a look at my eating. So okay, now I got about 60 grams of protein remaining. I have about 80 grams of carbohydrate remaining, and I only have 6 grams of fat remaining. So that's a telltale sign to me that I need to have a high protein, low fat meal, right? So like for my snacks dinner today, let's say I go ahead and do a protein shake. One of my favorites is rice protein. So I do 2 scoops of rice. There you go, 50 grams of protein, right? So now that I notice that I'm getting close to my protein goal, I still have a bunch of carbohydrates remaining, right? So one thing you could do is you're a little bit short on carbs is that we could do some rice, right? So a serving of rice. Let's just do jasmine rice. And I have about 250 grams of jasmine rice. So there you are. Check this out. So I'm about 245 grams of protein, 250 grams of carbohydrates, and 60 grams of fat. So keep in a reminder, when we are tracking macros, we are wanting to be within 5 to 10 grams of our protein, carbs, and fats, right? Which means that this is a beautiful, beautiful day of eating, right? And I even fit a pizza and a donut in there, right? So let's do it all over again then.
So what I'm trying to say in these modules within my program is that you don't have to stay on one certain plan. Like you don't need a PDF from your local trainer saying eat a cup of rice, a cup of chicken. You need to know what flexible dieting is, right? Because flexible dieting is going to help you keep it long term. It's going to help you keep it off long term, and that's exactly what I teach all my clients in this flexible dieting tutorial, and even in my ebook, How to Eat Out and Still Get Results. You're more than welcome to pause this, take a look at this if you want to. But this is what I kind of teach my clients because, like I said, you guys, if you're going through the process right now where you're doing a diet, you're going extremely hard in a diet. You need to ask yourself, how sustainable is this for me, right? How sustainable is this carnivore diet for me? How sustainable is this low-carb diet for me? Can I go the next 20 years without eating a carb? Can I go the next 20 years without, with just eating, in a carnivore diet? Can I go the next 20 years with doing, eating under 2,000 calories? If the answer is no, you need a better way. Right? Because every second that you waste not finding the diet that's actually going to give you sustainability, that's time wasted trying a diet that won't work, right? So, what I'm trying to say within this whole video is that understanding macronutrients will not only help you gain muscle tissue without gaining body fat, but also lose body fat without gaining muscle, losing muscle tissue. But also learning macronutrients is going to help you keep a sustainable change for longer, not have to restrict yourself to one certain diet for the rest of your life, and you actually create a sustainable way of dieting that you can stay lean with your busy job, you can for the rest of your life and have your dream body and actually sustain it. That's how people on social media are doing it, right? This is how I've been able to maintain this physique for the course of 9 months. And all this stuff is exactly what I teach every single one of my clients. So there's going to be an application for my online coaching program in the link of this video. If you want to learn a little bit more about me, more about metabolic priming, there will be a video in my YouTube channel pinned, a video in my Instagram pinned. You're more than welcome to check that out. But that is the end of today's video. Hope you guys liked it. I hope I was just able to drop so much value for you. But that link for my online coaching program will be below. We'll jump on a call, see if we're a good fit to work together. And if you are, I'd love to help you.